Like all great Star Wars movies, Solo: A Star Wars Story adds a great depth to the Star Wars universe and adds an expansion of worlds, lore, characters and species to the ever-growing Star Wars canon. With the release of the latest Star Wars guidebook, we have another treasure trove of Star Wars history and information to dive into. Having read the book, I have gone through it page by page and plucked out some of the most interesting and obscure facts and informative tidbits, which I have procured to answer some of the movie's most lingering questions, as well as to fill your head with useless Star Wars information you never thought you needed to know. Look, before we get into this, I'm going to throw out the obligatory spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Solo: A Star Wars Story, I'm not quite sure why you're here, why you clicked on this, because this video is certainly going to have a few mild spoilers for the movie. If you don't want spoilers, just click out of the video right now, come back to it when you've watched the movie. If you continue to watch even after this spoiler warning, it's not my fault that you have the movie spoiled for you. It's your own fault. Have some self-constraint. Let's get into it. The book features a small timeline on the events of the movie, which sheds a little light on its placement in the grander Star Wars timeline. A new epoch is, however, used in this, BKR Before Kessel Run, instead of the usual one, BBY, Before the Battle of Yavin, aka the events of A New Hope, perhaps as to not confuse new or younger readers. The book notes Han's birthday as being in 22 BKR, which would make him 22 years old throughout the majority of the movie. However, the book also notes the eruption of the Clone Wars occurring in 12 BKR, an event which has previously established to occur in 22 BBY. This means during the time of the Clone Wars, Han would have been 10 years old, and at the time of A New Hope would have been 32, roughly the same age as Harrison Ford in the original movie. That said, this book finally confirms that the main chunk of Solo: A Star Wars Story, with exception of the prelude, takes place in 10 BBY, or 10 years before A New Hope. A couple more years than the heavily reported 8 years. This also means that the events of Solo fit snugly in the timeline and allow an entire decade worth of Solo storytelling without potential sequels breaching close to or colliding into A New Hope. It's also noted that Han's jacket throughout the movie is made from Nerf leather. According to Star Wars Wiki, Nerfs were a species of furry, non-sentient animals raised for their milk, meat and hide. They could be found on a variety of planets across the galaxy from Alderaan to Lothal. Recently they were featured in Star Wars Rebels and an issue of the Star Wars comics, but most excitingly this is more so a small nod to that classic moment in Empire Strikes Back.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking Nerf herder!
Who's scruffy looking?
A very small description is given to Han's lucky dice, giving us a little more information on the small plot device that has found itself woven throughout the Star Wars saga recently. As a good luck charm, Han carries with him a pair of rhodium-plated chance cubes. They are used in the Corellian spike variation of Sabacc. On Corellia, Han and Qi'ra are members of the Scrum Rats, the lowest of the underlings. They are orphans and urchins plucked from the slums to serve the White Worms, a syndicate devoted to selling stolen and prohibited goods on Corellia's black market under the control of matriarch Lady Proxima. Qi'ra holds the rank of head girl of the Scrum Rats with the full trust and respect of Proxima. Later in life, Qi'ra would become the most trusted lieutenant of Dryden Vos's Crimson Dawn. Qi'ra, however, should never be trusted, as she's described as a potentially threatening schemer. Qi'ra's clothes in later life are specifically tailored by the galaxy's leading designers, and are designed so that they do not hinder her martial arts skills if she ever needs to use them. In the movie, we find Chewbacca imprisoned on Mimban, but with little explanation as to how this came to happen. According to the book, in the years following the Clone Wars, the Galactic Empire rounded up Wookiees from their homeworld of Kashyyyk and used them as slave labor across various different star systems. Chewbacca managed to escape slavery, but his plight to find and rescue the members of his tribe finds him captured by a greedy bounty hunter and imprisoned by the Empire. On Mimban, Imperial officers do not have the time, resources, or desire to process Chewbacca as a prisoner or to send him back to Kashyyyk for proper processing. So instead they keep him captive in a mud-filled pen for their own entertainment. It's noted that after his rescue by Han and Beckett's group, Chewbacca feels a loyalty to the ragtag group as they have helped him move a significant step closer to finding his tribe. Beckett is described as a grizzled gunslinger who is ambidextrous and a crack shot with both hands, who often fires 2 guns simultaneously. However, he tends to favour his left hand. The book also sheds a little more light on his rumoured assassination of legendary bounty hunter Aurra, mentioning that she may have fell foul of Beckett's blasters, despite him only ever suggesting that an impact from a fall killed her. Beckett's gangmate Rio Duran is a new species of alien in the Star Wars galaxy known as an Ardenian from the world Ardenia, distinguishable by their 4 arms and brown eyes. Rio was described as an old soldier and a veteran of the Freedom Sons, an independent army that assisted the Republic in the Clone Wars. Because the Freedom Sons never paid a pension, Rio turned to a life of crime at the completion of the Clone Wars. Little information, however, is given about Val. In fact, she is noted as being outwardly expressive and talkatively, but fiercely guarded about her past. Even Beckett knows little about her other than the fact that her father was a musician and that she's named after the Velichord, an instrument that was first mentioned in the canon novels Aftermath and Aftermath Life Debt. We get a little bit more information on the enigmatic Enfys Nest and her gang of marauders known as the Cloud Riders. They are described as one of the most infamous swoop pirate gangs in the Outer Rim territories. The members of Enfys Nest's gang are Weasel, Taishan Maxa, Moda Maxa, Calixio Rice, Batcha Hudaris, Aruma Isalo, and Tubes. Tubes is described as a mysterious marksman of the Tognath species. Tognaths were first introduced in the form of Benthic and Edrio, 2 Tubes in Rogue One. While I thought this character was perhaps Benthic, considering his usage in Rogue One and Star Wars comics, it seems that this may in fact be a different character altogether. It is said that at one time the Tognath's homeworld Yatogna was conquered by the Empire and saw a mass exodus of their people, many of which joined crime syndicates such as Crimson Dawn. Speaking of Crimson Dawn, were you wondering what those weird glowing lines on Dryden Vos's face are? They are in fact a series of marks or striations, which are linked to his circulatory system activity and adrenaline levels, glowing when his levels are heightened. While Vos may seem a humanoid, he is described as only near human. However, his homeworld and much of his past are unknown. Vos is, however, described as having a passion for antiquities with a one-of-a-kind collection on his yacht First Light, which he built through his work for the emerging crime syndicate Crimson Dawn. Many pieces have been given to him as gifts from those looking for favours or seeking forgiveness from him. Furthermore, the book The Art of Solo: A Star Wars Story also notes that Vos's collection also holds trophies from around the galaxy procured and plundered from defeated enemies. Amongst Vos's collection is a near-complete set of Old Republic-era Mandalorian Rally Master armour, a Cerulean Drosh from the jungle planet of Felucia, seen in Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars, an Alderaanian armillary sphere, and the mitard crystal masthead of Zim the Despot, a warlord from the original Star Wars EU, first mentioned in the 1980 novel Han Solo and the Lost Legacy, and recently introduced into the canon in the Last Jedi Incredible Cross-Sections book. On Dryden Vos's yacht, the 2 singers here are, believe it or not, celebrities in the Star Wars universe. The female singer, Aurodio Ventifoli, is a best-selling recording artist billed as the Shantusi of the stars. She's a singer in high demand who constantly travels and tours around the galaxy. Vos supposedly offered her a hefty sum to perform on his yacht for an extended residency. She sings with a multi-vocator, which boasts her voice to non-human frequencies. Paired with her is Lilo Primoc, a classic Galusian supper club singer who was a chart topper in the years before the Clone Wars. He also starred in a series of popular old Hollow movies where he would wear a dashing humanoid exosuit. He's described as past his prime, yet still favoured by retro collectors and enthusiasts. He exists in a flask filled with formaldehyde. Of course, Clint Howard, brother of film's director Ron Howard, makes his obligatory cameo in the movie. Found in a lodge on Vandor, Relikili is a loathsome rascal who runs the droid-fighting pits. He has had a hatred for droids since his home planet was ravaged during the Clone Wars by General Grievous. Also in the lodge, a game of Sabacc is a mainstay. Sabacc is described as the oldest and most popular game in the galaxy, which has spawned a huge number of variations, all with different rules. The aim of the Corellian game of Sabacc, which is played in the movie, is to achieve a card total closest to 0 and is played with a 62 card deck. It is said that Lando Calrissian has studied more than 80 variants of the game and knows how to cheat in all of them. Lando's droid partner, L337, is said to be a self-made droid, cobbled together from astromech and protocol droid parts. Both her head and brain are from R-Series astromech units, the same unit R2-D2 calls family. It's said that, as a side effect of her unusual design, L3 has a desire to share her insight and independence across all of droid kind, and cares deeply about droid rights. The new/old design of the Millennium Falcon is actually due to the handiwork of Lando himself. The Falcon was originally used as a freighter vessel, which once worked in the galaxy's busiest space lanes. However, once Lando obtained the ship for himself, he converted it into a speedy sports vessel, thus turning it into a unique starship. And with that one there, I'm going to close out this video. For more equally interesting and useless Solo facts and information, you can pick up Solo: A Star Wars Story, the official guide, from bookstores everywhere right now. If this is your first time viewing my channel, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like this in the future, then please hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen right now and hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to check out my many social media accounts and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope I'll see you all again soon. Until next time, take care and I hope you have a wonderful day.